gonna see what we can do with this. All right. No game tagged because we're not playing a game. See if we can just get this going. I'm gonna try to play a little bit of music here. There were some cool things here that might be good for what we're trying to do. Right here, there's like some 50-minute. Just gonna turn that. Yeah, why not? Sounds a little bit oceanside, but I think that's fine. We're trying to be chill. Let's see, where's it coming through? Ah, okay, right there. Could probably be a little bit louder, but I think it's fine where it is. If the music's not good, just let me know. Gonna get some alerts going here. Artisan explosion. Something like that. Thanks for stopping in, man. We'll drop that back down. Let's get... Well, looks like chat on Twitch is already working, which is great. From the one Akatsuki that uses clay. Makes sense that he would say something like that. This music is a little bit new agey, but you know, I think it'll work. I think it's just fine. It's just gotta be background, something to keep audio going, because I'm not gonna be speaking a ton, I don't think. Lo-fi would be good. I don't know if I have like a solid thing of lo-fi. I'm on freepd.com here, and I don't know what they have for lo-fi. They got some electronic. They got some upbeat stuff. Let's see. Do they have anything that's just straight up lo-fi? They got jazz. They got just a category called chill, and then classical. I actually don't know if they have a lo-fi. Dun, dun, dun. Been looking for DMCA Free Christmas. Yeah, that's going to be a little tricky to find. It's percussion and underscoring here. There's some world music. I don't know about that. No, I think we're going back to our meditations. Maybe we can find... Here, let's see if we like jazz. Oh, that was loud. Fun. It's not going to last very long, though. I think we're going to stick with chill. Let's go back to this. Here, we'll go to this one. Seems even better. It's very Skyrim-y. I can deal with that. I can deal with Skyrim-y. I think that'll be good. Okay, so let me get this chat set up. that should be for Facebook. Ought to be good. All right, let me get my board out here. All right. Alrighty, it looks a little dark, but I suppose it is looking at the shadows right now. There's gonna be a lot of like movements while we get set up, so I apologize for the noises you're currently hearing. If this all works out well, we'll eventually get some like ASMR pencil scratches on the paper and stuff like that. But you know, we'll see. We'll see what we get. We're not there yet. My coffee is on my notebook. All right, let's see. Well, that's where my other eraser went. I'm a little bit scatterbrained here. All right, let's pull this over here. See what we can do. I can show you some other art I've already made. Like we have some Linktober sketches from previous years here. So we have, like that's the violin from Wind Waker. We got Link and Epona over here. Stuff like that. We'll go we got Krista coming in to mess with our music. We got a Minish over here. Krista, how are you doing tonight? Call it now who wins tomorrow. Tom, I think that's your job. I think you should call it. It's all good, Krista. That's your job. I mean, that is what you do for the channel here. We have this fairy that we drew last year as well. So just some cool stuff that we've been working on. I do feel like we're maybe a little too close. Thinking Chiefs lose in overtime. It is the Chiefs game tomorrow, isn't it? Oh my goodness. All right, maybe we can back up a little bit with the camera just to get a little bit of a wider view on what we're doing. Okay, it still look pretty sharp. Let's mess with this. Not the zoom. I don't want to mess with the zoom. I want to mess with the focus. Just a little bit. We're out of focus. We just passed the perfect focus. There we go. I like that right there. We'll lock that in. Hey, Krista from Purple Land. How's it going? We got two people over here. We're just trying to get a little bit set up here. We're hoping to do something a little less intense than we normally do. We got the Master Smith over here, also from Minish Cap. We have the clock from Majora's Mask. I'm a little bit upset about how this red bled through here, but that's okay. That's the Picori blade. There's the juice cellar there. So basically, this is what we're looking at. We're doing some pin art. Like this is a Poe, Ocarina of Time. But we never did a background on this guy. There's a couple here that don't have backgrounds yet. There's Groose. There's a Flame Dancer. We're just showing off some old art here. Love the little bladesmith. Yeah. He's over here hammering away. And those are all from last year too. Like that was Linktober last year that we did those ones. There's Pharaon there. We got Ganon here. They're not all winners, but you know, I do like what we did last year. There's a Carmadillo, level 2 if you care. We got ourselves one of the merchants from Majora's Mask, moving shop. You can see like some of the detail the camera doesn't quite pick up very well. Like there's actually like a little hashtag mark right there, but we're gonna see how this goes because I think it's not gonna pick up pencil very well. That's the yeah, the prescription and the eyeball frog. Sorry, I need to stop listening to myself. So I'm like making myself stutter. That'll work. The eyeball frog. See? There we go. From Ocarina of Time as well. This one was never public yet, because I haven't colored it or like inked it. Like this is actually still just a pencil drawing. PlayStation logo there. We have like a little cappy here that's a bit smudgy, so he hasn't been turned into a pin. That was the season 7 art for the podcast, the original version. It's not pin size, so it doesn't show up quite well, but you can see like Link's eye and the Forsaken Fortress in there. We got ourselves an N64 logo here. And there's that chicken from Stardew that also has not been pressed yet. And then we have like this year Linktober. I can go through just a couple of those. You might recognize them from different shares. On Facebook, we had a few of them get posted up, but for the most part, we're just like, you know, all pre-colored, pre-pinned. There's only a few that have gotten colored. Here's Tubert. Fun stuff. Let's see, we got a Tad Tone. Kakariko Village over here. But they're all made to be the size of, you know, a pin. So, some of the more recent, there's Ravio. A little Link sketch. Keys. We're just going to flip over pretty much to what we're working on today, because we don't actually have anything that we're doing today. Here's the Bulbasaur that I used when I was trying to figure out how to get the color balance and everything where it needed to be. Bulbasaur is actually hard to get the color right on, and this isn't quite it. Like, he actually looks a little more blue in reality, but I couldn't get that to come through on the camera. So that's something I want to solve for eventually. That might be a new camera situation, but I'm not looking to invest in a camera right now. So this is what we got. I think that you get most of the detail. It's just a little bit, I don't know, just a little bit muted, I guess. A little bit more on the green. This is a Pikachu pin that is actually a remake. We made one with a purple background a long time ago, and it was on the diaper bag for Millie. And we went to a restaurant and left and forgot our bag. And when we got back, the bag was still there, but the pin that was on the front of the bag was missing. So somebody must have found the bag, took the pin, and left the rest. It's kind of an interesting situation. But either way, we lost that pin. I wasn't too upset because I knew I could, you know, redraw the Pikachu. So I finally got around to doing that just recently. So that's what this is. But right now what we have is a blank slate. So I need some suggestions. I don't know what it is we're actually going to be drawing, but if anybody has an idea of what they would like to see, I can go ahead and like maybe pull up a reference and start doing some scratch work, figuring out where the lines are going to be. And we'll have ourselves a little Bob Rossian stream here, which you know, we've never done on the channel before, at least not in physical art. We've done some digital stuff. Cool backstory for the Pikachu pin. Do something from Death Stranding, something creepy from Death Stranding. Oofs. The stuff in Death Stranding is a little bit, you know, I have an idea, because it's not going to probably be creepy. We're not really in Halloween anymore. But I do think that there are some good images that we could do. Because if we were going to do like a BT, those are like black cloud people, and I don't know if that would be fun to make, honestly. But I do think a Christmas Korok, that could be fun. I mean, we're only like a day towards Christmas, but that's okay. I do think that in Death Stranding there are some fun things. Maybe do like a crypto bite, which I think is like a little it's basically a water bear or a tardigrade, right? I like the Christmas Korok. 2 votes for that. Okay. Let's see here. Do you have a favorite Korok that you like? Like, is there a certain Korok from the world of Zelda that you're a fan of? I mean, I know Makar is a favorite, but he's also like, I've done Makar before. Christmas, it would have to be a holly leaf, right? Like, or like a. Let me see here. Yeah, that sounds about right. A very spiky leaf for a Korok for Christmas. But I think that would be good. All right, let's see what we can do here. So this is our canvas. And this is the first time I've actually tried to do art this way. So like if it's hard to see or I end up shifting the paper, I might need somebody to like say something. Here, let me put up a little vibe disrupting blip just because I'm going to need it. I'm not gonna know that people are chatting without it. So we are going to be relying on that a little bit. All right, so let's see here. Christmas Korok. So first we probably want the base for the Korok, right? So Koroks are like, generally speaking, wood people. So if we get like, I'm already like regretting putting pen to paper here, or pencil to paper, I should say. Because most of this like main area is going to be covered by leaf anyway. So we really just need what's going to be popping out. And usually they have like these little like antler looking things. Is that coming through okay? So there'd be like a little crossover here. And we'll come up over on the right side and probably make something that looks kind of symmetrical, but we're not going to go all the way. Koroks, the other thing about them is that they're a little awkward. So if they're imbalanced, that's actually like part of their charm. At least I think so. I don't know if that's an agreed upon thing. So we'll give them like just one little nub over there that looks like maybe it used to be a full stick. So then this will be more leaf area, most likely. So then down at the bottom, we can kind of give him his little stump legs, which are basically the opposite of what's on top, but just a little thicker, right? And also can be a little bit off one another because, again, the imbalance. He needs a bigger leg to support a bigger leaf up top, right? Something like that. So does he have he needs a prop, right? Like he is a Christmas Korok after all. Should he have a hat? What do we think? Like should he have a Santa hat? Should this be straight up Christmas vibes? Because perhaps this little stick here isn't even here. Maybe it's covered by a hat. Let's see. Like if we do something like this. Give it a little bit of depth here. Maybe you can tell there was a stump. So the hat's got like a little bump in it. Right? Something like that. It's just gotta kind of poke out a little bit. A little puff at the bottom here. I feel like that's fun. Don't know if it's like translating well onto the camera. Does that make sense? Does it make sense visually? I don't know. Perhaps not. Perhaps what we should do is reject the idea of having the thing come through. Cute. I think so. He's just a little guy. I think we can just kind of pull it up a little bit more there, and that'll get the point across, even if it's not like as obvious. Maybe put like a little angle there. That wouldn't normally be there, but this is a Korok, so we figure that out. Korok? Do you say Korok or Korok? What do you say? I normally say Korok, but what is Korok relationship with mistletoe? I don't know. I was gonna do a holly leaf. Is mistletoe? It's a different kind of leaf, right? Isn't it? But you're asking, like, do they have any traditions surrounding the mistletoe? Mistletoe leaf is very thin, and I don't think he could actually make a mask out of that, to be quite honest. So we're not going to do that. I think we're gonna stick with the holly leaf. Sorry, I'm using a visual reference for the holly. I think holly would be better. But mistletoe, I don't know. Do Koroks have a tradition with mistletoe? They might use it as propellers to like fly around with, you know. They tend to do stuff like that. Okay, so we got basics here. He needs arms, which again, just more of these like sticks popping off the different directions. If I'm remembering Korok anatomy. So like this is where we can maybe get like a candy cane. It's being used as an actual cane maybe. Oh my. Where should his arms be? Well, I guess it would be kind of a joke, right? Like he wouldn't actually be leaning on it. I don't think Korok struggle with that kind of situation for the most part. Let's see here. I've never seen like an old bearded Korok, I guess is what I'm saying. I think they're kind of like eternal beings in a way. They're not like the Kikri that do age. They're like they're just kind of all stick people. So we'll make this into like a classic candy cane here. We'll put his hand sticking out from behind it. Even though I don't think Korok really have hands, but you know what I mean. And then this one will just be like kind of celebrating over here. And we will let that be symmetrical because I think it actually gives the arms up vibe a little bit more clarity there if we do that. And I think that actually helps bring the hat forward a little bit by having the puffball in front there. All right, so now we gotta draw a holly leaf, which is arguably the hardest part of what we're doing here with this. I'm trying to think, where would the point be? I think maybe this comes through like this. We want to stick off the edges a little bit. But we don't want it to like completely cover up the face of the Korok either. So we want to make sure that stuff is still sticking out from behind the holly leaf. Something like that. We cheated a little bit with like the direction of the leaf. I think they tend to. Well, actually, no. The spikes seem to be kind of irregular on these ones. Like it seems like it'd be the same number of spikes, but they wouldn't always be like perfectly lined up. So what do we have over here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I guess we did 4 and 4, but something about this situation didn't look right to me. So let's see if we can't fix that a little bit. 2, 3, 4. I think that might be it right there. Is that looking Korok-y yet? I like where this is going. Nice. See if we can get a little bit more leaf. Maybe a little less leg. I think maybe we went a little too hard on these legs down here. Let's see. Now that he's covered up, I think maybe that's sufficient right there. The problem I'm having right now is that you can see quite a bit over here, but also like you can't see what's... Okay, I think maybe that's our solution right there. All right, so now he needs facial features. That are like crudely cut out of the leaf. Let's see, these holly leaves tend to have one central kind of situation going on. And I think, let's put the stem up here. Then we can kind of like detail this out a little bit. And that's how you know that this eye might not really be right where I just put it, because that would be a hard place to cut. But I do think maybe it would have an eye right there. And maybe another one right here. It's got to be kind of jolly though, right? So we don't want him to be like too hard. What is this? Does that face look good to you? I mean, I feel like he's a little bit... Something about this isn't quite what I want, but I don't know why. I feel like they're always like a little more awkward with their face cuts, right? So maybe something like that, almost like a boomerang shape, just something that like really makes it seem like, yeah, he tried, but you know, cutting leaves is hard. Okay. So the next thing I'm seeing here is that these eyes do not make sense at all, but that's okay. We're just gonna pretend like we're gonna make him look at least a little bit smiley because it is Christmas. So it's a jolly Korok, right? So then we gotta, the thing about Koroks is that they tend to like have a weird tree bark pattern going on. So we're just gonna add some details through here and hope that it comes out. Doing this live definitely adds a lot of pressure. Like I definitely feel like this could go really bad really fast. I don't remember what this is. There's like some weird detail up here that I don't remember putting in. I remember he had a head spike over here, and then he had another one where the hat was. Maybe something like that. How does that coming across so far? Does that make sense? I mean, Koroks are kind of blobs, right? I mean, so if something seems super off balance, we're probably doing something right. You love it? Okay, let's I think that this right here is too tall, but I don't know why I feel that way. Like maybe that's just okay. Maybe we just have to live with that. Maybe every Korok is different. We just need to accept that. Maybe this pen that I'm trying to open is causing me way more problems than it's worth. All right, here we go. We got it. We got the pen. Okay, so what we're just gonna do here is just go over our lines, and basically just firm them up. And once that is done, I think we need to let that dry a little bit before we add any more color, because what we got to do is we got to erase the pencil back off of it. You know, some people will erase most of the pencil off first, but leave enough to see so they can retrace like the faded lines and then kind of go over those faded lines with the ink. I'm not good at doing that. I usually over erase and then I don't know where my lines were and it becomes a big mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink right over the pencil, which is not great for the pen, not great for the art, but if it dries, then I can erase what pencil that you can still see, and it shouldn't leave us with something that I can basically just color in with marker afterwards. So that's the process we're gonna try to use here and see how it goes. So while this is drying, we can start on another piece as well, and then we can come back and color this after. And I think that'll be a good way to do it. You have another drawing idea while drying? Okay. Cool. So we probably don't want every single pencil line, which is the other thing. We just want the most important ones that give the best details. And this is a good place where we can like make better decisions about right where things are going to land. Wind Waker Link Thanksgiving with a seagull for the turkey. That, sir. Remember, these are pins. So, ideally, okay, I think I just did something a little off here. 1, 2, 3 is in this space here. So what I just did was I made a cut into the leaf that we didn't originally have, but that's okay. We're gonna roll with it. Adds character, right? So if they get too detailed or have too many things going on at once, it's going to make it actually hard to read because these are 2.5 inches wide. So the more iconic, the more like simple and easy to understand from a distance, the better. Like you can even see kind of what's going on with our, I'm kind of trying to point at the other part of the screen here. Some of these pins that we have made are crazy. Like they're super detailed, you can't see anything, but like something like that, like one big strawberry and then little Pikmin, or I don't even like that one honestly, but we did press it. It was a Linktober project. The less you can have going on, the better, I feel like. Wind Waker Link is great because he's a cartoon essentially, so he doesn't have like a whole lot of detail that you're gonna miss in a pin. But having it be like a whole Thanksgiving thing might be a little tricky. We can try. It's not that I don't like the idea. I think it's just have to be careful about. It's not gonna be like a whole Thanksgiving dinner. It would have to be like straight up Link with like a pilgrim hat, maybe. I think that could work. I don't love the idea of having the seagull. The seagulls were like our friends in that game. You know, so it feels a little weird to make them the dinner, but all ideas are welcome. It's brainstorming. There's no bad ideas when you're brainstorming. Let's see here. What do we got? Could be one of the scamming fish. Just the Fishman? A pin of the Fishman? That could be fun. It's very specific. In a good way. Let's see. Let's get these pieces and parts out of here. We are following some of our lines just like as they were drawn here, just to try to get the details down. We didn't actually put any of those details on this arm, so we're gonna have to do that in a minute. Love the Korok, 10 out of 10 idea. I think it'll be good. It's funny because normally with these pins I don't really do seasonal because I want them to be like, you know, kind of evergreen in a way. But I think this is working. So these lines are going to be very confusing until we what do you call it? Do the rest of the color on the leaf, because this will make this all one uniform color and it'll all make more sense at that point, I'm sure. Get that there. All right, let's see if we can't somehow get this candy cane with these ridiculous lines that I've drawn. I already made it a little chubby right there in a way that's not great, so we have to follow that same arc as best we can on the other side. Make it look like a uniform thickness of candy cane. So that's the goal. Candy canes are tricky when you get around the bend because the stripes change like how they appear. Like that seems a little off to me, but once it's red and white, hopefully it'll make more sense. Like this should have probably curved the other way still, which is kind of what I was talking about. Like, let's see if we can't kind of force it to do that. Yeah, and that's how you end up with a super dark line that doesn't help anybody. But you know what? That's fine. Let's this will just be a white, red, and black striped candy cane. In fact, it's a Korok candy cane, so nobody says it has to be red and white. It is Christmas though. Looks great. I appreciate that. All right, so while we're letting this ink will, if I try to erase it right now, it'll probably smudge all over the place, especially with the thick lines on the candy cane. So we're gonna leave this one be, and we're gonna move on to our next one. It makes you want to color. We will come back with some color on this one in a minute, but if you want to color while you're watching, I mean, you're more than welcome to in your own space. I mean, this is what we're trying to create a chill environment here, so see how it goes. We're this is our first time doing this kind of stream, so hopefully we get better at it as we go. Are we still feeling like Thanksgiving, Link, or are we thinking the fish? We're thinking the Fishman? Let me see here. See if I can't find a reference for the Fishman. Here, I'll put the Korok up while we find this reference, because this is the one that we did for this stream. Meanwhile, I'm like tapping everything. I can't even hear what's going on the stream because I'm not listening in. But if there's any like awful noises, by the way, feel free to, let me know. I'll probably have to go back and listen and see what works and what doesn't in terms of what you can hear, because I just have this mic that's in the area. It's probably picking up everything, so we'll see how that goes. Fishman. You gotta include Wind Waker in the name, because otherwise Fishman comes up with some crazy stuff. So it looks like there is like a very iconic like art already made of the Fishman. Like, here, I'll throw this so you can see what I'm talking about. Like this right here is like super common for some reason. Like when you do a Google search, the first thing you find is a bunch of this exact pose. And I don't know if we want that exact pose, even though it does, it's interesting. But I think if it's done this many times, it's going to be a little silly to do on a pin, because you could just like print it and do it that way. So let me see here. I like something like this where he's sticking out of the water. That's fun. There's a video of the Fishman. Trying to see what we can find here. This one makes me laugh. Boy. All right. Let's see. I like this reference right here. Little wavy guy. You can kind of see some of the features in his face. You can't see too many, but figure that out. Put the iconic toad beanie on him because you're the artist. I mean, I could do that. A Fishman with a beanie. Suddenly the channel will be like Fishman Gaming, though. And that's not what we need. All right, so looking at that, I think we can use the the standard art to make him in the water. So I think we can. He's got like these really cool shapes on his face. All right, let me see. So if we come over here, that other one's probably dry enough to actually erase now, but that's okay. We'll figure this out. We'll figure out a good process for doing this. I kind of like the idea of bouncing back and forth though. So for one like this, if we're gonna do him sticking out of the water, then we kind of got to work with some like extra line work here, because we're gonna need water in our image. So I'm thinking that what we're gonna do is a horizon line, like way up here, and that came out really crooked in the stream, which tells me that maybe my camera is a little tilted. Let's see here. How do I get that to look right? Something like that. All right, so horizon line somewhere in there. We're not going to detail out the water because Wind Waker water is crazy. But we are going to say like the Fishman's going to be popping out somewhere like right here. We can add like maybe some Japanese art style water lines here. I feel like those are not visually translating the way that I want them to be. Basically, it's just a bunch of stacked lines, though. I guess you just have to trust me on that. I don't know if it's gonna work. We might have to get rid of that actually. I think just the one little wavy line for where he's popping out works just fine. So let's stick with that. All right, so Fishman, right? He's got the face of his shape is like a half circle that's a little bit extended. So like he's got like almost like the repo guys from that one game that I've tried playing once and it was too much. So it's kind of like this, and then it shoots across. Something like that. The actual design on his face is something crazy. Like he's got like these wicked eyebrows that aren't actually eyebrows. It's like a scale pattern. And it looks like a little like J thing, but it's like a symmetrical, so there's one on either side. Something like that. And that's not his eye, that's just like the surrounding features. His eyes are actually like inside of that. This is already like coming out a little bit scary. I think that I made that too short, so let's see if we can keep the eye. I think the eye's in the right spot, but I think the J is a little bit messed up here. So probably should have maybe started with the mouth, because that's the part that's a little bit like needs more face. He needs more face. We're running out of space on his face because he needs more face. Hold on. Some of these pins are going to be like this, where we're going to be fixing and fixing and fixing. I'm like now off the page. All right, we're back. Okay, let's see. So straight on Fishman might be terrifying, to be honest. We're going to see how this goes. So if he's saying hey, he's got this big ol' mouth here. Sorry, I'm trying to like figure out the placement of these facial features because they're insane. He's got kind of an arrow nose. It's pretty wide, and then comes into a point right here, right in the middle. It's a pretty symmetrical guy. So then this does the same thing. We'll actually show the end of the eye thing there. bring that over. We'll firm up the eye placement on that side. His eyes are pretty drooped, actually. So maybe this eye's a little too short, or at least, you know, maybe too wide is what I'm saying. So it looks shorter than it should be. Like, it should actually look pretty circular. Again, I think the placement was okay. All right. This guy is actually kind of scary looking now that I'm like really examining his face. It's kind of a problem. Let me see. It looks like in the actual game, this is almost like a circle that perfectly like goes around his actual eye and then swoops back in. Kind of similar to the way the King of Red Lions looks with these details on the face. He's got some of those. We're gonna make him a little bit more smiley than he actually is, and maybe that's a mistake. Maybe that'll be something we need to fix in a minute. We're gonna see. We're gonna see what we can do. That's his actual open mouth, because he iconically is always talking. He's got like a purple mustache here. Without the color, it's kind of hard to make sense of what's happening. That might help. Give him some actual eyes. Now the right eye looks way too detailed, or the left eye I should say. It's his right eye, our left side of the screen. Looks a little too lifelike for the other side. That now looks kind of dead. But we can fix that before we like ink it for real. The other thing is he normally does have a dorsal fin that you can see. Something like up here. We're gonna exaggerate it a little bit just because like I think it gives context to what this character is. In the actual game, you would see this guy 3D. He would be like profile, and you would see it like kind of along the back because it actually is pretty far back. Like if you come over here, like the way I'm drawing him, you might not see it as well. But we're gonna kind of poke it up a little bit so that you can. So, somewhere in there. It's looking like a little mohawk, honestly, but I think it works. We'll like put the front of the fin there and then have it kind of trail back. I think if I get rid of this, then it looks like it's actually like just kind of leaning to one side. Almost like it almost looks like a flower petal when I do it that way, but I think that works. And then I can like have it lean the other way as it goes back, so then he has a little detail over there too. All right, something like that. Makes it look like hair. It also makes him look a little more silly, which makes him look a little less scary. So I like it. I know it's kind of a weird look, but I think it's working. Let's make it even taller. Let's make it lighter though, because we're getting into the territory of like having super dark stuff on our sketch. That's not going to erase well later. So like we'll have it swoop around and then poke out the other side there, and that way it's like a continuous thing, but it's actually all coming like kind of straight to the back of his head. You can see it there. Hey, Devo, thank you for the share. I didn't even see you come in. Thank you for the like and the share. I really appreciate that. Here, let me get my thing out of the way here. My whatchamacallit, I had my sound mixer up over the screen. Howdy. Yeah. Welcome in. All right, so next, he's got little fin ears. I don't know if you'd actually see them, but they're kind of like in line with the eyes, and we're gonna say like, yes, you can, even though, you know, who knows if you would. but I think it helps. Anything we can do to make him look a little less creepy, I think is good. Like a lot of these mythical creatures, I think the art is supposed to make you feel a little uncomfortable, like with the way they're drawn. And these guys are definitely like, kind of like the King of Red Lions, like we mentioned earlier, are kind of based off of some Japanese art stylings that are made to like signal some kind of like, I don't know, like you should be respecting these characters because you're not really sure if they're safe or not. So it almost, I mean, on this guy, it kind of looks like a war paint almost. On the King of Red Lions, it just looks like, I don't know, he's got like actual tusks and, you know, some crazy hair and some horns. It's kind of cool. But you're welcome. Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. So one thing I'm seeing here is that I think that the water line that we drew isn't working with how low we drew the face. Weird looking fish, right? It is a weird looking fish. You're an awesome artist. Like, wow. Hey, thanks. So maybe we make that water line a little lower. And that way he's not just like a head in the water, but he can actually have his fish body, and that'll help too. At least I'm hoping it will, because if it doesn't, we're in trouble. So his fish body, you don't always see it actually, because he likes to wave. Which fin does he wave with? That's my next question. Oh, I'm realizing I didn't draw his paintbrush at all.
Swabby.
We're just gonna make him. Hey, Scott Johnson, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. All right, so we're gonna say like this is where his fishiness would be, right here, right into the water, and this is where we can like fix how that water plays out. Knowing that his body's going to be there means that the water can actually, we can kind of go back more towards our original line that we had, but like at the same time, you understand the cut's going to be in front. And then we can start working on these fins. So his fins are like just basically yellow hands, but they're like one is shorter for the thumb, and then the rest are like all together as a fin. So we're gonna say this one comes off right about there, like kind of towards his chest, because he doesn't have shoulders. Fish don't have shoulders. Fun fact. They have like, you know, muscles that maybe would be considered something like that. To, you know, move the fin, but I don't know what that muscle's called. And I'm hoping it's not shoulder, because if it is, then I just lied to you all. But they don't have shoulders like we do. I will say that. Scott Johnson, thank you for the like on the stream. I appreciate you being here. And the share. Oh my goodness. A follow, a share, a like. My dude is in here. He comes in with a comment. He'll have done everything there is to do. And then the other one, if he's not waving with it, he just kind of keeps it in front of him like a gentleman, because that's apparently, you know, how fishmen operate. We're going to say that this, the fin, if it's out in front of him, is actually going to also cut into the water in its own space, which I think will also, once again, help our image of this fish look a little less creepy. Remember, he is a cross between a fish and a man. So no matter what, there's going to be a little bit of weirdness here. He's actually starting to look a little more like a man than a fish, and that's bothering me. Yo, Devine says you're welcome. Thank you. This is our first time doing an art stream. Normally we do like gaming stuff. All right, so cool bit about putting this hand here is that we actually now have created some imbalance to the right side of this pin, which means that if we put his brush over here, it'll actually balance out the piece, which I'm kind of loving, if I'm being honest. So I think what we should do is maybe, for the fun of what we're doing, is close his mouth on the one side, kind of like that iconic image that we were shown earlier, right? Like this thing right here. See how he's got like the one side of his mouth closed and then it kind of pops out this side? Instead of having the brush come straight down and having this weird like 3/4 angle, we're straight on. So what would that look like if we were straight on? Is this mouth would actually be a little closed over on this side. His chin would come up to match it. Right? Because he's a fish. Fish chins don't work like ours, but also this fish has like the widest face of any fish I've ever seen. Fish don't actually have wide faces like this. And then, ooh, I'm gonna like turn my drawing here. Maybe not, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should turn myself. Let's see if I can do that instead. For the sake of the stream. So this is gonna actually come out over here. Kind of looks like buckwheat or like a, you know, maybe a pipe. Which, you know, it's not any of those things, it's a paintbrush. I think that gets the point across. Maybe add a few lines there for the bristles, so you can tell that they're bristles. Hey, the thing is, he always has ink on his brush too, doesn't he? So we'll make that a little more towards the top so that we can keep our lines for the bristles, because I really don't want to sacrifice those for the sake of the ink. When we ink this one, hopefully we can kind of fix that a little bit. Now the purple mustache is actually coming through like a mustache now, which I think is super convenient. Let me see here. I'm gonna look something like that. All right, so we can probably ink this one now. Maybe we can like put like just a bird or two in the background just to kind of solidify that this is sky. But they are M birds, so you know, don't judge me. The game has a lot of seagulls in it, and they do look like this when they're at a distance. And then we'll put like a little cloud up there. Something like that. And I think we have ourselves a Fishman. I feel like that fin on the top of his head is not nearly big enough. Share bomb? Heyo. What is the fish character called? I think he's literally called Fishman. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Yeah, check this out. Fishman. He looks something like that. It looks like he has a little cut that I did not even catch right here in his eyebrows. Ah, because it's not as defined in that one. Okay. So he has HD eyebrow cuts. All right, let's see here. If we can fix the top of his head a little bit, if it'll change our character look here. Gonna do something like that. Make him look very sympathetic. He says, okay. Yeah, sorry. I wish, we did it a little better, but let's say that this is very obviously off to one side. Something like that. And then as it goes along the back of his head, that's when you get the different zones here. And we'll still kind of like give the little taper on the other side here just to make it a little nicer. But I think that looks a lot better because it's more distinct. You can actually like see where the fin, like where the bones in the fin are. And I think that works. It almost looks like a little hat, which I love. The line work on the makeup in the face, a lot of that's gonna go away when we do the erasing. And he actually has some more detail in his nose that we didn't really. It's not gonna work with pencil. And we don't want to color it with black ink, so I'm not going to draw it in. That'll be something that we have to deal with when it comes to coloring. But a lot of this other stuff we can actually start inking now, and then we can move back to our Christmas Korok after that. How long have we been live? That's my next question. Hold on. About an hour. Okay, so we've gone through 2 drawings up to the stage of inking in about an hour's time. That's not too bad. All right, let me see if I can't find a way to do this without going crazy here. Start right here. He's got a lot of a very smooth line to define his head, and I'm gonna mess that up. Okay, so it stops with the brush. We're going to do one of those. We're going to kind of stop these lines partway through because we don't want them to take over the fin. We just want them to kind of be there as a suggestion. Because in reality, that fin would be like a uniform color. Of course, this is a cartoon character, so we don't actually have that. Got some uptime. Thank you for that. All right, let's see. Let's get these ears on. Let's get these hands in there. I'm a little bit nervous about doing the actual face here. Mainly because a lot of those lines are like where the color starts and stops, and he doesn't actually have a whole lot of outlines going on there. So these will actually go almost all the way to the bottom. He says, "You're welcome." Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so then this will come down here and stop at that thumb that we drew. Where things are in the water, they don't get like their own outline. They get a water outline. Which definitely changes. It's funny because, I would just totally move that right off the screen. I'm so sorry. When I have to learn how to draw without moving the paper around a whole bunch if I'm doing streams. It's not a skill I've ever had to practice before. Normally I'm able to just kind of wing these things wherever I need them to be for the line work, but trying to make it good for everybody. So yeah, his face actually doesn't have a whole lot of outlines in the actual thing. In the art, in the like the actual like concept art, there's some outlines, but it's a little bit different. I guess we'll start with the eyes because that's the part I really need to be established first. So we just drew that eye pretty deep. We made him look a little sad with that, but I think it's okay. We're going to leave a little tiny dot in each eye, hoping that you'll see that when we erase the pencil. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try. And then we're going to detail the nose because that's actually going to stick out in front of the coloring on his face. So we want that to be prominent. He has a prominent proboscis. It's not that prominent, but enough where the discoloration on the face doesn't come through. And then we'll do the mustache actually has its own outline as well. Which I suppose it should. Keep it on the screen. Keep it on the screen. If I'm losing it off the screen for too long, please say something because I will not always catch that. I am sure I will move the paper too much and like ruin what can be seen. Okay, and we will give the mouth a little bit here. Come on, keep it on the screen. This pen's gonna need some help after this. I definitely just butchered that a little bit, but I think it's okay. We're gonna say that his face does come out all the way, just because there's no reason for it not to with the brush there. I kind of like that we gave his face a little wave through there. I think that really does work. So this is where the ink was. So we'll actually just make that like kind of dark. Something like that. And I think when we're doing the coloring on the face, we can make the rest of the color kind of work with that. Let's see if we can't finish up some of these lines up here. Make sure that the rest of him makes sense with the water. Do a little bit of a the idea is to keep all these lines as parallel as we can get them while still making it look like water. Because that's how you kind of establish that these are like kind of like ripples. Because like they wouldn't cross over each other for the most part. They would kind of flow into each other. So it's like a whole thing. So then our horizon line goes right up to his thing. So we're actually going to start it at his fin and panic because getting a line to actually be straight when we're drawing it like that is a pain. Trying to draw it really light so that I can like try to correct it as I go over it again. I think it works. And then we'll commit to these seagulls. I think they've earned their position. That one's further in the distance. It's a little bit of a cheater seagull situation, but I think that's okay. I like this curl that I put in the cloud. I don't really love the other one. I think it needs to be the other way. Something like that. But I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad cloud. That's okay. We can have accidents every once in a while. I don't think anyone's going to be looking at the cloud because really this pin is about the Fishman. It just looks like a little blob in the background. I think it'll be fine. Maybe we can like make it really dark and just kind of, you know, less important somehow, or make it like match the background or something. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out a way to kind of mask that. All right. So while that's drying, we'll go back to our Christmassy Korok, which was the idea here. And it's time to erase. Hold on. Let me get a sip of some decaf real quick. Don't want to make too much noise in the mic there. Apologize for that. So now that the ink is dried, it's not going to smear all over the place. We can get rid of all of these extra pencil lines that we have. And we'll color the character. I don't think we're going to color the background tonight. Ah, come on. How come every night we got to have a band, like some bot come in on Twitch and try to ruin our stuff? All right, here we go. Who's that, Leaf Man? So this was our first suggestion of the night. This is a Christmas Korok. Let's see. We just had to block somebody over on Twitch. So hopefully, you know, nobody clicked that link or followed that lead or whatever it is he has there in his little thing. They've taken action on the report already. All right. So there we have that. Now we need to pick the colors. What we should do first is maybe just color in the candy cane. So that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it was maybe Tom. So we are big fans of Sharpie here at the A for no, B for yes / decaf toad situation. Just kind of fill that in like that. I'm going to actually go back to pen for a second here, because one of the things about these leaves is that you would never actually see through them. Like when they do this, they do little cutouts. They almost always just have shadow in them. Like you don't actually see the face of the Korok underneath. And that is by design. So there we go, little holly jolly guy. That being said, I'm trying to figure out which colors to use here. Thinking we're going to make him a couple shades of green here. I think we'll use this one as the base, and then this will be like the detail. As long as I'm not crazy, this should work. Because this actual leaf is a holly leaf, and they are like a very deep green. And so his leaf is going to be pretty dark. Might mess with the vibe, but I think that's okay. Like, it might make the rest of his greens look a little weird. So we're just going to color this boy in. Oh, you know what? I forgot to color his hat red, too. That's okay. We'll get to it. Here we go. Oh. We never gave him detail. Hold on. We can fix this. Right, quick. We can fix the his one arm. Give him a little, like, splotch there. One hides behind the candy cane. I think that'll do it. The splotches are important. It makes them look like little birch tree monsters, in a way. Which I think is what they were going for when they designed these guys. He definitely has like a little bald spot there where there's no details either, but I think we're going to let that one ride. We'll probably put some shading in there and make it look nice. All right, so this is the counter color to that. This would be the kind of green that I would use to shade the other color green, but now we're going to have to figure out a different way to do that. It's nice having some color. I do wonder where Tom and Krista went. This was their suggestion earlier, I believe. Doesn't mean you have to stick around for the whole process. I can always share this a little later. Liked your fish guy? She thought it was cool too. Nice. I'm happy that she liked it. It's you know, it got a lot of character suggestions here. So there's the hat there. All right, let's see if we can't fill in this holly leaf and then see where we're at once that is all together. Holly leaves, we're gonna do like a super deep green here, so I'm hoping that this doesn't just like block out the whole thing. You can't even tell what we're doing anymore. It's super dark. It's gonna change our white balance on the camera. Maybe if we go quick, we can avoid oversaturating the color here. It's definitely kind of taking over the drawing, but I think it is true to life. Like, holly leaves really are this color green. Maybe not quite this color green. There's a lot of greens in the world, but they are dark. They're not like a super light green. I think once it gets colored in, it'll make more sense. What are we looking at? Liked how you did all the shadings too on it. Oh, nice. You guys watching the stream together now? Appreciate that. So you can't see his eyes anymore because it's so dark. It's kind of what I was hoping wouldn't happen. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. Let's see. What can we do? We can double down on the eyes. That's one option. See if that does anything for us. And the mouth here. A little bit. It helped a little bit. We can add more light, maybe. You're welcome. Oh, yeah. For sure. And see, I could like pull out a clear marker and see if we couldn't take some of that color back off. But I think that might hurt the drawing more than it helps to do that. We can give it a shot, but I'm a little bit apprehensive about that process. It also might lighten up a little bit as it dries. When you first put down color, it tends to be a little darker, especially on a Sharpie like that. So over time, it might fix itself. And we should at least give it the chance to do that if we're going to say that that's possible. So let's do that. Let's give it a chance. We'll let it ride for now. I feel like this dude needs like an igloo in the background, but at the same time, I don't even think I want him to have a background at this point. Let's see if I can't find a way to shade this. Doesn't watch streams. I just wanted to show my mom how awesome of a drawer you are. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, hold on one second, guys. I appreciate that. I don't know how loud I am now because I just muted myself and then turned myself back on to a different volume. So if it's abrasive or aggressive, I'm sorry. We're trying to keep things nice and chill. So if we're dealing with some stuff, hey, I think we lost our music. We had music going on earlier. What happened to that? Hold on, we can fix this. Oh, we finished it. Okay. Maybe we can play a new one. We'll see if this works. What happened to our... Okay. You're welcome, you're welcome. I feel like we're losing a little bit of our camera here. Hold on. No, it's not too bad. It's brightening back up. All right. I think we're good. I think maybe just the white balance got thrown off a little bit. All right. So now that we got our music back, I gotta realize when the music stops. I didn't even like notice, and I don't know how long. We've probably been streaming for like a full, I don't know, 15 minutes with no music. All right, let's see what we got here. This is, can't see that at all. Can you see how I do that? Blue Gray 1, BG1 is what it says on there. Man, I wish you could actually see what that said, but these are some kind of cheap markers here, these Touch News sketch markers. But BG1 is the one I'm using. Faith Dojo, welcome to the stream. Let me know how the sound's going. I don't know where the music is compared to my voice anymore. So we're just kind of winging it, but we are having fun with it. So this is our blue-gray sketch marker, and it's kind of like a catch-all. If you normally, I would like to shade something with darker versions of the same. Oh, hit my camera. All right, hold on. Great. Normally, I would shade something with like a different. You hear some background pads? Okay. I would shade something with a different version of the similar color, right? Like I would use this green and I would use like this darker green to actually do the shading. But because this guy has so many colors next to each other that I don't want to introduce a new green. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this like very light blue-gray marker. Like, let me show you kind of what it looks like off that art here. Something like that, right? It dries pretty light. It's not like super aggressive. Still hear me over the music? Okay, great. And so I'm going to use that to kind of just add shade to every color aside from like maybe the white sections. I might pull out like a light blue Sharpie for that, and we're going to see how that goes. So I'm kind of like super cheap when it comes to shading. I always do like the same direction. I always have my light source like top right and just have it shade down to the left, because that's what I learned when I first learned shading. And I don't really like to move my light source a whole lot, so I'm just kind of always doing that same direction. I have done different things in different directions, but you can even see in like my pin examples that whenever you see anything shaded, it's almost always going to look like that. I think it does the job in a good way. Like, I don't think, if it's not broken, don't fix it, that kind of thing. So we'll kind of go around with that. So Faith Doja, welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're here. We are trying to have a relaxing stream. We're trying to be kind of taking a chill vibe. I feel like our gaming streams lately, I'm always trying to do too much and trying to be too entertaining in a way. Whereas with this, the point is to kind of, relax. So you can kind of see how that is adding depth, and all I'm doing is tracing the lines on the left side of my art so far. But instead of having a flat dude, now he's got cylinders. Look at that. We changed everything about this drawing in like 3 lines. This is why, like, man, when you learn how to shade something, it's immediately a level up with your art. Like, immediately. Nice shading technique. Oh, thank you. I almost feel like I could get away with it on the candy cane, but I don't know if I want to risk it. I'm thinking maybe we do those things different. Anything that's actually white, I don't want to slap gray on, because that'll actually make it look wrong. And if we shade the leaf, like the leaf is actually technically flat, I think that might hurt it, but we'll see. We'll give it a shot. We're just going to shade like very specific parts of the leaf. Make it look like maybe it's curling in certain areas, instead of just doing the whole line. And even that, the green is just eating this gray marker. It's not even working. Not really, anyway. Something like that. You can't even see it. That's okay. We're gonna say that the shading on this part kind of disappears as you get out to the end, but then gets bigger as you get towards the leaf. Something like that. You are entertaining still when you're playing a game. I appreciate you saying that. All right, let's see. Oop, just hit my microphone stand again. Sorry about that. And then it'll definitely be shaded under this hat, because the hat is going to be casting a shadow onto him, right? I would think. A little bit there. Which is fine. I mean, we went a little aggressive with it, but I think it'll be fine. Once we get the hat shaded, it'll make more sense. So let's work on that next. We're gonna use the lightest blue that we have, because the blue, I think, actually shades white really nice. Let me show you an example here. Like it's actually less aggressive than the gray. So the gray works really well when you're using it over a different color, but the blue is actually a little more delicate when it comes to shading something that's white. So like you can get away with like that, and it doesn't make the hat blue, right? It just makes it look like it's shaded and not crazy, which is our goal. something like that. So then the candy cane, similarly, I'm gonna say that there's no shading. Well, not no shading, but like bottom there, something like that. And then for the red, similarly, we are actually gonna pull out a deeper red and kind of fill that in as well. So we'll throw a little bit of that right along that edge. And it's probably just gonna be opposite the blue. Kind of add a little bit there. What will you do for the background? Ooh, that I have not figured out yet. It might be a solid color for this one, because these are pins. So this little guy, he might even get away with a white background because he's a Christmas guy. So like, we could just be like, oh, it's a snowy background. Like, oh, he's in the polar area. Who cares? Like, it's just leave it white. But at the same time, we could try to do something fun with it. I just don't want to. I feel like he looks good just in the void. You know what I mean? What kind of background would you like to see? Because if you notice, a lot of my pins, they just have like a solid color background. Like you can see, like I'm sitting in a frame that is a pin, right? And you can always see what that is on the further one. So don't want to clutter it too much, right? Yeah. So sometimes we do like fancy backgrounds like this one where you got like purples and blacks, but a lot of times it's just a plain background. Like this one was like a brown background, a brown background. That was like a desert scene. This one was like a volcano, so it's red, and this guy's just blue for the sky behind him. You know, we try to keep it simple in the background for the most part. So yeah, we don't want to go too crazy with it. I think this is decent the way it is. I think if this was on a white pin, I think that would be fine, honestly. You could do like a black pin or like some other solid color. I wouldn't do like a purple or an orange or something. I think that would kind of mess with it. And I think green or red also would make it harder to see what's going on here. So I think that this guy might just be what he is. This might be done. You love it? I'm glad you love it. I will, I don't know when I'm going to get to pressing it. That's the other thing. But we'll figure that out at some point. Let's go back to our Fishman and see what we can do over there. So here's our Fishman. And step one is erasing, but we are going to try and keep... We're going to try and keep the lines on the face for now. At least the eyes decoration, I guess you could call it. We're going to keep that up. And we're going to just erase all the other stuff going on here. Extra detail on the clouds and the birds. The extra detail on the fins and the face. It's gonna actually, this is gonna help this one out quite a bit because there's a lot of pencil work here that is just kind of sitting around, cluttering things up in a bad way. But check out how that looks right there. It's a little nicer, right? Suddenly you can see where all the ink lines are actually where they're supposed to be. Or at least, you know, kind of. Alright, so we don't want to get rid of those eye details, but we do want to get rid of the stuff on the mustache. Okay. So the other thing about this guy is that he, hold on, I think I've lost my image here. If we go back to our reference here. White belly, oh! Wasn't trying to do that. Okay, so white belly, kind of a blue face. He's got yellow and red around his eyes. And then this is just white, a white swoop through it. Cool back on your other guy makes him more 3D-ish. The shading looks cool back on your other guy. Oh, this Over here, yeah. The shading really makes things pop. Shading is like, I think probably the most valuable thing I ever learned when it came to drawing and art was just like how to make one side of something look a little darker to make it pop in a 3D way. I feel like that was just I don't know. I mean, I learned that pretty early on. Like I was doing that maybe in elementary school or something. Just like I remember like coloring, and I distinctly remember like doing a coloring book like Snoopy, and Snoopy's just a white dog with like a black collar, right? Something like that. So he's not very detailed. And I just put some gray along one side of Snoopy, and suddenly Snoopy was 3D, and I was like, whoa, shading really does stuff. And I've just been kind of like, I don't know, expanding on that since. Like you can see some other examples here. Like here's Pikachu, got some shading going on. We already went through some of these earlier, but like the Bulbasaur that I had as like the example when I was trying to set up this whole station, like he's got a bunch of shading underneath him because, you know, there's no light getting under there, stuff like that. So it's definitely good. You want to see a messed up Pikachu? Ready? Look at how big I made this Pikachu's nose. That's a Pikachu with a sinus infection. And there's the guy with the nose he's supposed to have. Anyway, moving on. Fishman. So we want to get the blue, but not where we don't want the blue. And that's a challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to lighten these lines a little bit, but we want to make sure they're still kind of there. Like you can see the smudges. And we're going to hope this works because I don't know if it will. But we don't want it completely gone. Like we want to see our guidelines that we made earlier. And I feel like I can still mostly see them there. But notice how his face just became like straight up. This is just a man in the water wearing weird gloves. Like this is now a problem. I don't like this at all because he doesn't have his iconic makeup. He doesn't look like a fish anymore. So we need to fix that. One thing I'm seeing is that this red on his nose, for us, I think that's just going to be a red outline right along the outline of the nose that we drew. But in the meantime, hey, unzoom. What are we doing? Gross. All right. Anyway, let's fix our phone here. Our reference, if you will. Okay, so we need like a pretty solid, but not too crazy. Like if I was to do a little comparison real quick on Fishman here. I don't know why we can't get just a regular day. If we were to take these two colors, I think technically this one is like more accurate to the shade, like to the brightness. Like it's the same level of like light coloring, but this one actually matches like the actual hue, but it's too dark. This one actually looks perfect for the shading. Like you can see it actually kind of blends into the screen there when I put it over top of that. So I'm wondering if we have... Yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's like I had the Sharpies pre-picked out. I didn't. But this will be our shading color, and this will be our main color for this guy. Sorry for moving the art around too much. We're having a great time here. Where are we at? Okay, sorry. We're back. So this is still going to be tricky. We're going to try to shade. Or not shade. We're going to try to like hit these lines without actually drawing them into the art. what's left over? It's actually kind of stressful doing it this way. That was hilarious when you said it was Pikachu with a sinus infection. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit is what that was. I'm hoping that we can get red on that. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. I have a feeling that's gonna kind of fail us a little bit, but we'll figure it out. Are we off the screen? We are off the screen. So I'm trying to like watch what I'm doing, but at the same time keep it on screen. Okay, so we got to fix that other side. I think it's working. Something like that. I think it's about as good as we're gonna get it with our current method. And we'll say that looked a little weird. Hopefully that'll fix itself. Okay, so he has some blue on his sides as well, but again, no outlines for it. Wherever this blue meets the white, there's no outline. So something like that. Starting to look like a proper Fishman. Let's see here for the purple. If I remember right, this purple is way too dark, even though it looks right sometimes. So we're gonna go with a lighter purple here. Something like that. Start working that red in because we need some red on this guy. I'm doing that thing where I put markers on like every surface around me to the point where I'm losing markers now. So sorry, I had to do a little bit of a reset there. All right. So now the most obvious red is right here. The eyes and the nose are gonna drive me nuts. I'm wondering if there's a better way. Hold on. This is a red pen that we have never opened. You can see it's still got the little bauble on there. Let's see if we can't crack that guy open. It's still Sharpie brand, but it's S gel. So we'll see how this looks. Ready? That's really ugly, actually. Hold on. You know what, though? I think it's the perfect red for his nose, but not the perfect red for his eyes. So difficult to figure that out. We're just trying to get it started because right now it's acting like it doesn't want to be a pen. It's like you've never used me in all this time. This thing's been living in my bag for years. This is a really interesting scribble. All right, hold on. Let's do some doodling real quick. Got him. All right, let's get back to our guy. All right, so this we're gonna use to kind of cheat that nose detail, and this is super wet now that it's here over top of the other Sharpie. In kind of a bad way. Because I'm losing control of it. And it made the nose uneven, so now we gotta do that to even it back up. Alright, we're gonna let that go. We tried. Now let's try with these eyes. Oh my goodness, it's stressing me out how thick this marker is. Something like that. You made the shock face with that scribble a little bit. Like the Pikachu shocked face. A little bit. The red eyes are nuts. I don't know if... Oh, you know what else is red? His brush is red. Hold on. We can get this. We're gonna have to shade that so you can tell the difference between it and the rest of what's going on here. And I just realized there's a line that we missed as well. So let's get that back in there. Some artistic license on this brush. We'll rock with that. Alright, so he needs yellow in his eyes as well. Came out a little weird, but I think that gets the point across, if nothing else. He also needs yellow in his fins, but not the same yellow. We're not going to do the same yellow. We're going to do almost like a goldenrod yellow. This is my favorite Sharpie, by the way. If you're ever able to find out what this thing is, it's like banana color or something. Like here's Here's the standard yellow that most Sharpie packs come with. This comes in the Naturals pack, and it's just a darker yellow, and it looks nicer, and it's like perfect for shading anything that's yellow. Like, I can even show you which one it is. They sell it. Where do they sell it? It's hold on, real quick. I'm gonna see if I can't reach it. This was a bad idea. I have a fresh pack right now in the wings, because when this runs out, I'm gonna cry. It's a very specific pack of Sharpies. It's this guy right here. You can see that it's chroma keying the face of the lizard out of there, and a couple of the Sharpies are getting chroma keyed too. But like, it's I forget what they call this one, actually. Now that it's not written on the thing. But it's the one with the lizard, I can tell you that. Quick drying. It used to actually have like I think it was like Sharpie Naturals or something like that. But I'm actually not seeing that anywhere here. But you can see this marker is like, you can't see it because it's like, the lighting's not great. But it's right there in the pack, right over top of the R in Sharpie. That's got to be like the best pack of Sharpies they make. It's the only one that I know of that has that shade of yellow in it. So anyway, we're gonna use that shade of yellow right now, and it's gonna hopefully work some magic. So like, for example, this Pikachu, yellow Pikachu, the shading, this fancy yellow that I got right here. Beautiful. It's like the perfect thing. If you want to make anything look gold, it's a great shading for that too. So this dude's fins just are this color. See how that complements the blue really nice? If I had used basic yellow, I think it would have been jarring. Maybe even clashed a little bit. It's just a more natural looking yellow. Like, things in the real world don't always look electric yellow. Sometimes you need a little like realistic yellow to be a fish fin. And he's got his mitts. So the other thing about this guy is that I don't think anything about him is meant to be true white. I think he's got a little bit of a tinge going on in these white sections. Not the main ones, like the fin is actually blue, so we're gonna color that in right now. It's like a really bright. I think that helped out a lot too, actually. The brush I think is white, but he's actually like a really light shade of something. And I'm wondering if I should try to do, hold on, I got an idea. Might be a bad idea. Blue marker, where are you? All right, so this is what we use for his face. If we put that on him, I think it's gonna mess him up. But let's test that with our frog. No, I think that'll actually work really nice. Okay, let's try it. Makes it look more natural. Since he got mitts, he's ready to play ball. Something like that. He's looking a little more natural now. I'm gonna leave some white here, just for like the highlight of it. Barely any. So this, I'm gonna leave the suggestion of white, if you will. We'll see how that goes. Maybe some on his ear there too. I think we definitely changed the character design by doing that a little bit, but I think it's working. Especially when we shade this guy, I think it's gonna help him out a lot. So the blue on his fin is actually the blue I would have used for the ocean. Let me figure this part out. The Fishman in Wind Waker. Let's find another reference here, because we're gonna need it. So this is like the kind of images you normally see when you look up Fishman, right? Like we've been over this. But check this out. He's almost green compared to the water. That's like true blue. And that's a problem, because we didn't make our Fishman green. That doesn't even show him on the screen. We made him blue. So how do we deal with the water then? Okay, so we made the Fishman this blue. We made his white sections this lighter blue. We made his fin this one, I think. I don't think we went as hard as like using this guy. I think this is a little too green. So perhaps the ocean could be scary dark, but also more blue. I think it works. Because what we don't want to do is use all these fun natural looking blues and then slap that like nasty blue on top of that. Like that'll ruin everything if we use this electric blue. It's like the most primary of primary blues. Use the lighter blue. Like you're thinking this one here for the water. You know what? We can always go darker, but we can't go lighter once we've gone dark. So how about we do that? How about we try to use this light blue? We don't have too many shades of blue. I think I showed you every shade of blue I have. So this is gonna match his body. Let's be clear. One thing I'm gonna have to do here. Oh no, I've done a thing. Hold on, everybody. I seem to have made a critical error in my eraser placement. This is like those videos where they're like, what it's like to live with ADHD. But I don't have ADHD. I just put my eraser down somewhere where I don't remember where I put it. I do have a backup eraser. Let's use that one. I'm sure the other one will show up eventually. Wherever it may be. Okay, so we're gonna actually erase a bunch of stuff here. We're gonna try to get that, whatever we left on his eyes, back off his eyes. And then we're gonna, oh, you know what I should have done first? We gotta set a boundary. So the real pin maker cuts like way out here. It's not actually that far out, but we got to make sure that we know what we're doing before we erase our circle. So we don't just use a bunch of ink on places we for sure don't need it. So we get rid of our circle, because that's actually the circle for the pin itself, but we don't always like cut perfect on top of that. So we don't want that circle to be present on the actual pin when we're done. So we make a bigger boundary so we know how far to like actually fill in. And this was the blue we wanted to use. Alright, so this is gonna just be a lot of shading here, so don't even, not shading, but like, we're just gonna be filling stuff in here. Leaving a little bit of white on his ear there seems to be saving us a little bit of trouble in distinguishing what's water and what's the Fishman. That and the outline is working its magic. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the microphone. Probably can. This marker's and it's not gonna probably dry out on us. I've been using this marker for a long time. Most of these markers I have like for years at this point. And sometimes they get a little dry on me. This one feels like it's threatening. But I did just show you the other Sharpie pack that I have, so if we do have to swap over, we can. Like, we have backup markers that have never been opened. Still old, very old, mind you, but have not been opened. I think this blue is doing its job. I think this was a good idea, Devo. D-Man. The gatekeeper. We're up in here. Let's fill this out. Yeah, it's starting to really dry out now. It's struggling. Normally when these markers struggle, what I do is I'll cap them and I'll keep them upright. Your mic does pick up the marker. Nice. In a good way, I hope. I hope it picks up it in a good way. I hope that's like, it's got that nice sound to it. Because otherwise this would be unlistenable. We want to make it smooth as we can, so I'm kind of going over some of the lighter spots. What I do love is when it gets like a blush look to it, especially when you're doing like water or clouds or something. Like where you can tell it's uneven, but it's like uneven in a way that adds to the piece. Like we're getting a little bit of that going on, like right in this area, where it's kind of like, it kind of looks blotched together, which, is... It makes me, like, I really like when that happens, because this is a Sharpie. Like, it's not really made to accomplish that kind of look. But it's just because we're putting it on wet and we're getting it on together fast enough that it's creating that look just organically. Like, this is made to draw lines, it's not really made to do like a fill like this. Like Sharpies are kind of made for detailing more than they are for shading and blending and whatever. So I think that's working. See how nice it looks with the light blue? It does look nice. I don't think it looks done, but it does look nice. And now the sky is a problem, because the sky would also need to be light blue. You had a good idea. Didn't I already shout you out? Yeah, this was the fish. This was the face and the water now. I'm gonna do something a little dangerous here, so don't hate me for it. We're gonna put a little bit of shading in these blue lines here around the Fishman. Kind of looks like maybe you can tell there's more to him under the water. Again, something with like this, it's a little bit tricky trying to make it look organic, but I think that helps as well. I almost feel like we stopped a little short in some of these spots, or kind of still needed something like that. All right, so now we need to figure out what we're gonna do about the sky. See here. Most of the time the Wind Waker sky is actually just blue. It does get a little darker as you head towards the sky, like the actual top of the sky. Like it starts out lighter than the ocean and ends up dark at the top. I'm wondering if I can play with this a little bit. Hold on. Let's see if we can do some magic here. This is gonna be tricky. We're gonna try to use this same marker that we used for the water to create an effect up here that's not necessarily real. So as you can make sky purple, then Fishman is swimming in Halloween night. Yeah, we gotta get away from Halloween, I think, a little bit. It is the November 1st now. I think Halloween's great for next October. But I think for now we gotta get away just a little bit. Unless it's still Halloween where you are. I don't know how that would be possible now, but... Okay, so now we're gonna try to fill in a little bit more the higher up we get. So up here it's gonna be like all the way filled. He said, I know. All right. Sorry, didn't mean to like immediately shoot down the idea. Part of me just doesn't want to like get caught in infinite Halloween. It's just being funny. spooky Fishman. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of working. Do we swing for the fences with it? Maybe. Let's do a test out of bounds up here. Whoa. Whoa, blue. I'm gonna say no, we don't swing for the fences, because that is scary bad. Alright, no. What I will say is that maybe we can use like this. Just trying to just barely touch the paper as we get down towards it. No. Oh, crud. That's way too much. We're kind of committed now. Alright, so this is going to be one of those situations where we're going to try to see what the light marker can do for us. It doesn't look awful, but it does look awful. So let's alright. We're going to see if we can't cheat a little bit, just a little bit. So this is magic. This is a colorless marker, 0 colorless blender. They call it a blender. It's not truly what it does. It can be used for blending. Like normally what you have to do is you put it down as like a base layer, and then you can blend over top of that base layer. But what it can also do is act as like a little bit of an eraser if you're like really aggressive with it. But it's also going to make this thing that we just did become a little more blotchy, a little less detailed, if you will. I should probably avoid hitting the seagulls with this, because that'll mess them right up. If you hit the actual, like, the details you want to keep with this, it will mess them up, so we don't want to do that. But this marker will pull color back off the paper a little bit. It's not going to solve all of our problems. Is that squeaking bad? That's probably a bad squeak. I probably need to get a new colorless marker too. It's not really made to be worked with Sharpie. Like you can see, like I'm getting some color out and then I'm moving it off the page here. kind of see how it's like some of these lines that were actually dark, like up here, are starting to now like fade into the background a little bit. And that's my goal now. This is actually like crisis control, but it's working. It's doing the job a little bit. Sometimes art is about figuring stuff out as best you can. Seeing where you can get with it. Seeing if you can't learn a new technique or a new way of accomplishing a goal. And sometimes you gotta like run into something that you really didn't like necessarily want when you started. And sometimes that's a teaching moment. I've had to do stuff like this before, but never to this scale. I don't think I've ever tried to like hit an area this big with a blender before to try and like pull color out. It's doing something. I think at this point it might be better to start detailing the water instead of trying to take detail out of the sky. We're going to use this blender to shade this cloud real quick. And by that I mean we're going to mess with the line. I was going to try to put some blue in there from the blender, but you can see how it's like moving the gray from the line outline into the cloud. And it's actually kind of accomplishing a goal for us in a way. Markers don't actually like to blend is the moral of the story there. But you can see how that worked out for us in a way. Like we still got some of our lines up top, but once you start getting towards the horizon, suddenly it becomes this like harder to see detail. Pulling a little bit of color off with that. If the color's still loose on the page, the eraser can actually like move a little bit of it off too. You just don't want to move anything off the fin, so I'm trying to avoid the fin. Whoa, don't want to bend our paper. End up with something there that looks more akin to a watercolor than an actual Sharpie. Let's try and there's like a little like blue spot right here that's still bugging me a little bit. See if we can't pick that up. Put it somewhere else. I think that did it. Look at that. How are we feeling about this Fishman? We feel good about it? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling mostly good about it. Awesome. Nice. Let's see if we can lighten up this bottom line just one more little bit. Like create almost like a glow off the horizon. I don't think we're gonna get quite that good of a result, but we can shoot for something. As long as we're not destroying our paper, we should be all right, which we might be doing. We might be destroying our paper. Looks good on the backside. Did you like it? It's definitely a challenge. Fishman is not something I would have volunteered to draw on my own. He's a tricky guy. He's a tricky guy to draw. Fishman is cool. Nice. Krista, I'm glad you like it too. This is great. I like this. I like doing these streams. This is fun. I mean, we've been here for 2.5 hours now. I'm about to call it. I don't think we're going to do a third one tonight. I think that would be like a lot to put in to one night of streaming. But this Fishman took most of the time, honestly. So, like, if I had to compare the two, this guy, pretty straightforward, pretty fun. I like how he came out. This guy, a little bit more on the stressful end of things. Still, for the most part, like how he came out. You know what though? We haven't shaded him yet, have we? Let me get out my my blue-green one and let's see if we can't add some depth to this boy. Let's see what we can do here. Oop, sorry. We're gonna shade this back fin. Maybe even this top fin here. Look at that. Look at that thing that just happened. We're going to put some gray on his ear. We're going to shade him up on the left side here. And we're going to add a little bit along his chin, especially on the left side there. We're going to put some shading along his nose. His mustache needs it a little bit. This fin is actually like curving around, so it should have shading too. I think the brush we're going to let go because the ink is kind of covering the shading there. But the bottom of the actual brush part needs a little bit to make it a cylinder. Something like that. Christmas Korok, the other one is cool as well. I enjoy the pins, fun stuff. Yeah, thank you. Definitely, it's been a lot of fun to draw. Let's see here. The other thing about this guy that I feel like we didn't quite cover. You know what? Maybe I can just... His brush, it has like these cords here. Let's see if it just gets just a little bit of color to pop out of there. It's not really showing up on the camera though, but that's okay. I think that's our Fishman art right there. I think it's pretty cool. It looks a little more, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. It's like a little more realist than actual Wind Waker, which is interesting because normally my stuff comes out pretty cartoony. Like this dude right here, absolute tune. Look at him. I mean, it is what it is. Let me see if I have some other Wind Waker examples. Here's like a Makar mask that we didn't color yet. Let me see. Oh, here we go. There's a skull from the Stalfos, right? Got it. We gotta have some. Nah, we got it. Eslo. That's not really Wind Waker. That's Minish Cap, but we got it. Like that's how our stuff normally comes out, like almost cell shaded. And instead, what we got was like almost like true shaded instead. Which is just weird for the Wind Waker art style, but I think that it came out pretty good overall, considering. Like when this is cut as a pin, you're probably not going to see this blue up here. It'll probably look more like let me, if I was to raise it a little bit, like it would probably look like that as a pin. But I think that's okay. I think that's pretty cool. I like the way it came out. But yeah, we're gonna call the stream there. These are our two pieces for tonight. We got this little Christmassy Korok, and we got this Fishman. But yeah, we'll probably press those. They'll probably get added to the collection. You'll probably see them start to pop up in this whatchamacallit, this slideshow that we got going in future streams. But yeah, y'all have a good night, and I will catch you another time. Peace out, y'all. I just grabbed my phone like it was my mouse to stop the stream. That was awkward. Anyway, have a good night.